Hi everyone, this is Chef Pradeep. Welcome to our channel. This is a slight different video from whatever we have posted so far. Food is a substance which consists of carbohydrate, protein and fat and nutrients which helps the body to grow and sustain growth. We all eat different varieties of food in our daily life, and processed food plays a huge role in this. But if I ask people what does the processed food consist of, do you know what all the ingredients in it? Many does not know the answer. So I'm going to tell you 4 important things that you have to look out for when you buy a processed food. That's what we're going to discuss in this video. First, tiny bit of history. When our forefathers were hunter-gatherers and human population was less, they did not bother much about preserving food. But once the agriculture revolution happened, invention of fire and human population began to grow, storing excess food has become an issue. Hence, food preservation was born. In the older times, people were preserving food using salting and smoking. There are many other sun drying, many other methods were used. Food usually goes bad because of 2 reasons. One is because of microbes, the other one is oxidation. And through research in many years, people found ways to control this by making inhabitable environment for microbes and to control oxidation effectively. And the industry has grown really large. Today, if you go to a supermarket, if you look around, and I'm sure you will find more than 50% or even more of processed food in the shelf. Though it has become part of our life, to be honest, my idea is to give you some important points to remember while buying processed foods. So there are 4 things that you have to check while buying any processed food. The first one that we are going to look at is manufacturing and expiry details. If you look at this picture, it shows us 4th of February 2021 as manufacturing date, and on the top part it is saying that 9 months, best before 9 months from manufacturing date. It says best before, it does not say expiry date. It may be still okay to use for some time, but it may not be of its best quality. And if in some packets or some food products, if you see it says expiry date, that means once the date is over, you throw it in the garbage. So if you look at different food processed food packets, it says in slightly different ways of telling you for how long this processed food can be used. The second information to check is the storage information. If you see in this poster or in this product, it says that store in a cool, dry and hygienic place, and it also says that do not use if the pouch is swollen, leaked or puffed. And the third instruction is very important. This is where I've seen many people missing. Refrigerate after opening, do not freeze. Do not freeze is okay, but many people fail to check this. It says that even I have made this mistake before when I was not aware of this. So some of the processed foods, when you open the packet after you use maybe a little or half or whatever it is, once it's opened, then if you are going to store it, it should be stored in the fridge. If you fail to check this, as many people does, it will spoil, and next time when you use, you may not realize that it is spoiled or it is started spoiling or so on so. And then if you use it in the food, it gives you stomach cramps or any other stomach discomforts or food poisoning may even. So this is the second information that you have to check. In some soft drinks, if you see, it says that do not store do not store a place where there is a direct sunlight. But in village sites or somewhere when I go, I see in small kirana shops or in the bus stands and many places where people are hanging these soft drinks outside their shop where sunlight is falling on it. So it's very important to check the storage information and follow it, because the company has made this information for a reason and it's better to stick to it. The third thing to look out for is nutritional information. If you have to know the average calorie intake for a female is 2000 calories, and for male it is 2500 calories, but it is not a fixed value. Depending on what kind of work you do, the calorie value per person to person will differ. And if you see, the serving size is given as 30 grams in this, and I'm sure the 30 gram serving size will only be this much, and I'm sure you're not going to eat only so much. Deliberately, most of the companies, when they mention serving size, they mention in a bit of a small size. But you have to ask yourself that what is your serving size, and based on the nutritional information which is given there, you have to calculate yours. So now if you take this nutritional information, it says for 30 grams, and the other side it says after adding 200 ml of milk. So if you see on the other side, after adding 200 ml of milk, the total fat quantity increases, the calorie value increases, and carbohydrate increases, protein increases, as well as salt, sodium also increases. Now, if you take the other side, it does not say that you are going to add more sugar. The sugar, it shows us 2.5 gram on this side, 2.5 grams on the other side. But I don't know how many of you will, take the cornflakes with the milk and without adding the sugar. How many of you will eat it? Most of us will add sugar along with cornflakes and milk and have it. So that is not mentioned here. So you have to calculate that value as well. Then if you do that, the amount of carbohydrate, the amount of sugar you consume also will go up. So those things are also not mentioned. And the four things that you should check when you see a nutritional value is, first is carbohydrate, the second one is protein, then third one is fats, and the fourth one is salt. Now, no need to pay too much attention to the bottom one where there is vitamins and minerals, because they are in a very low quantity. If you eat enough vegetables and fruits, you will get it from natural source. And focus on the first four which I have told you most of the time. Check is how much carbohydrates, and you have to see that whether it comes naturally from the ingredient in that processed food, or is it an added sugar. If it says added sugar, then you should pay more attention to those numbers. It's very important. And the second one is protein. RDA of protein per day is 0.8 gram per kilo of body weight. So you can do the math depending on how heavy you weigh, and be aware of the foods that is high in carbs but low in protein. Third one is fat. Usually it is main three fats to concentrate on is saturated, unsaturated, and trans fat, and there are a few other fats also there. Mostly in nutritional information, if you see, only these three will get mentioned, and some of the things will not get mentioned. But in this, the other few things also is visible. And see, the trans fat is usually called as bad fat, and it says 0 gram, but what you need to remember is it's not, in most of the foods it's not always 0 when they say 0, because sometimes it may be half gram and it will be rounded off, so it will be mentioned as 0, so that we do not know. And unsaturated fat, also known as a good fat, you have to focus on that. If it is in the food, it's good. And saturated fat is somewhere between good and bad. So I can say that it is in the medium path. These things you have to pay attention to, how much trans fat and how much saturated fat is there in the food. The fourth one is sodium or salt, and RDA per day is 5 grams. So if you see in this, it says already 0.15 gram, and after adding the milk it increases. So you have to calculate how much salt you are eating. This is a second example of nutritional information of pizza and pasta sauce. If you see in this, it says protein is 4.9 grams and sugar is 18.7 grams. So mostly when you use this sauce to make a pasta or something, there's going to be more carbohydrate, because the pasta will be carbohydrate. It's made from flour, refined flour most of the time. So you have to calculate, keep also that in mind. If you see there, the overall energy per 100 gram is mentioned as 215 kcal. Sometimes in some nutritional facts information, if you see it is mentioned as calorie, only calorie, and no need to confuse with that. It means the same thing. Kcalorie does just simply means kilocalorie. So in this, if you see this, you check how much protein and how much carbohydrate and sugar and how much salt is in it. But if you see the ingredients list, it says iodized salt. But if you take the nutritional information, they do not mention how much salt is in the in this pack, or how much salt is added for 100-gram serving size. So those things you have to note down, because it's very important. It does not, if it's not mentioned, you will not know how much it is. This is a third example of nutritional information. You saw the first one was nicely in the box and stuff. The second one also was in the box, but not full information. But the third one, you can see in some of the processed food it is given like this. It doesn't have so much of information. It only has few. So if you see this, it says added sugar, 12.91 gram. This added sugar mostly comes from this permitted natural color, INS150C. It's mentioned as, it is caramel color. So that is the added sugar in this recipe. So if you see this recipe also, the amount of protein content, the amount of carbohydrate, the amount of sugar, fat and everything, you can see that the protein content is very less, and mostly it is rich in carbohydrate. So all these information you have to look for when you buy a processed food when it comes to nutritional information. Fourth one is the ingredients list. Now when you say that when you buy, for example, a sausage, if I ask you what are you eating exactly, you can say you will say that I'm eating a chicken sausage. But there is not just the chicken in that processed food. There are so many other things also. And most of the time when I ask people, they are not aware of it. So let's take one example. Whenever you look at ingredients, it's in a descending order. The ingredient that weighs the most comes on the top. The ingredients that weighs the least comes in the bottom. Look at these ingredients. The highest weighing ingredient is mentioned as corn grits. The second highest weighing ingredient is mentioned as sugar. So you have to keep that in mind. So the third ingredient says as cereal extract. Now how many people know what is cereal extract? It is made from malted and unmalted cereals such as millets, wheat, barley and malted barley. This extract gives taste and color profile for the products. So it is widely used in this kind of cornflakes and many other products these days. Then comes iodized salt, and also comes vitamins and minerals. They are in low quantity. But even if you see, salt is more than vitamins and minerals in this. Then the last one is mentioned as antioxidant. Number is given as INS320. Now most people doesn't know what this means is, and if you just Google it, if you put this INS320 in Google, it will tell you what it is. It is a preservative accident. This is usually added in the food to prevent the food from changing color, flavor and getting rancid. Whenever you see a chemical name like this and says that antioxidant, and in the bracket it gives a chemical name, if you Google it, you can see what kind of a preservative is used in that product. I know it will be difficult to see every time what kind of preservatives is used, but once you know about these preservatives, it's a one-time effort, and then from next time onwards you will be more clear about what preservatives exactly in that food. This second example, you can see the tomato paste as 41%, then there is water, there is onions, and fourth it comes as liquid glucose. This is also a source of sugar. And then again there is added sugar, then edible oil and other stuff is coming, iodized salt and etc, etc. But if you see in the bottom, it also shows you so many other things, says as acidity regulators, then thickeners and preservative. So for all of them the numbers are given, and it's best to know that what does it exactly mean. The first two numbers which is given, acidity regulators, it is INS260 and INS350. They are acetic acid, and it is the main compound of vinegar usually, and this is mostly used in all kinds of pickles, sauces, condiments and seasoning, etc. And the second one is thickeners. The number given as INS1422 and INS415. These are called stabilizers. These are modified starches. And INS 415 is also a xanthan gum, and this is also used in cosmetic products as well. This is used as bulking agent, stabilizer and thickening agent. The third one given as INS 211, it is sodium benzoate. You have to be a little bit aware that wherever sodium benzoate is used, if you see that product contains vitamin C, and you may have to think twice, because this reacts with it and it creates carcinogen benzene, and this is believed to cause some diseases, but you can Google it and do more research on this topic. If you take this example, if you see there is a preservative in this, it is INS 202. This is potassium sorbate. So you can see there is lots of chemical preservatives are added in this. There is always a debate whether it is good or bad for our health. And in this, if you see, it also says INS 150C. This is a caramel, but it is an ammonia caramel. This is controlled. This is made by controlled heating of carbohydrate source with ammonia. Few things to keep in mind whenever you buy processed foods. Sometimes the packet does not say that it has added sugar, but it may be in the other form of sugars, which is not required to mention on the pack. And sometimes the high fructose corn syrup is usually considered as not so good for health. And sometimes it may not be mentioned as high fructose corn syrup. It will be mentioned as fructose and separately as corn syrup. So all these small details you have to to look at when you buy a processed food. Also, some of the names will be very difficult to pronounce. Some of the things will be very difficult to understand. But if you just Google them, if you do a little bit of research, you will know about them. Then you can make an informed choice of buying these products. That is my sole aim of this video. We cannot always avoid buying a processed food, but it is always good that when we buy it with a lot more awareness. That was the aim of this video. I hope this video was helpful. If you like this video, please comment in the comment section, or if you want more information regarding this subject, do comment on comment section, and please do check out other videos. Thank you.